everyone, it's me Melissa, and I'm just stepping into the ranting shop to talk about Liz and Jason. Now, prior to this post, it was purely speculation. Everybody was hoping that they were still together. Everyone was hoping that, Liz and Jason would be their happy endings. However, Liz just put out a post that confirms that she and Jason are indeed not together anymore. And I'm going to read every last bit of what she said to you guys, just in case you missed it. So she starts with, I want to thank everyone for all of your love and support during and after my Ready to Love journey. It has definitely been a roller coaster ride that I do not regret. I've been silent for quite some time, focusing on the process of transitioning from my disappointment to my destiny. I'm in a season of reflecting, refreshing, and restoration. I am so blessed to have friends, loved ones, and an amazing support system like you guys. I'm grateful for Will Packer and the OWN Network for the opportunity, and nephew Tommy for his guidance. I'm especially grateful for the season 4 Ready to Love family and each and every person I've met and encountered. I was serious about my journey to find love. I believed in the process and gave 150% into developing my relationship. I know many of you had high hopes for Jason and I, but sometimes things just simply don't work out. God has made my story even greater, and one day I'm going to have to tell y'all about it. For now, I'm focusing on getting back to enjoying my life and all the things that are important to me. Although I didn't find true love, I'm very expectant that my king is still out there somewhere. Stay tuned, y'all. There's some great things on the horizons for me. Hashtag still ready to love. Hashtag gloriously made. Hashtag made by grace. Hashtag dreamer. Hashtag overcomer. Hashtag black girl magic. Hashtag CEO. Hashtag queen. Hashtag ready to love. Hashtag Liz Rachel. Hashtag Liz said that. Hashtag I am Liz. Hashtag success. Hashtag motivation. Hashtag Houston girl. Hashtag elevate. Hashtag empower. Hashtag Will Packer. Hashtag own network. And she also added the nephew Tommy EXP, and she added Will Packer Productions. So this is what Liz had to say. And based on what you just heard, it is very clear that she and Jason are no longer an item. She said that she is transitioning from her disappointment to her destiny. So it was definitely something that she wanted to work, but figured out that it was just not working because their paths were not aligned. Now, if you were privy to the season where Liz and Jason ended up being together, you would be able to figure that out even before they got together, that their paths were never quite aligned. Liz was looking for a spiritual man, a man of the faith, a church-going man. He may not have been church-going, but at least had a strong faith in Christ, like she did. And I remember Little Black Book speaking on the fact that you cannot expect, as a woman that has become a woman of Christ, to just expect a man to be able to understand where you are at in your religious journey, especially when he's not there yet. And so that became a huge point of criticism for Jason and Liz's relationship. And I know that a lot of people wanted them to be together, but the facts were always there that they would not be a long-term relationship. It was written on the wall, not to be pessimistic, but just being realistic. The signs were always there. This man clearly wanted a sexual relationship, something that Liz was not interested in giving to him. So I believe that, and I also spoke about him testing her boundaries to see how far she would go. And he did, because if you looked at the interview where nephew Tommy asked him about whether they'd had sex or not, he speaks about there were times that perhaps he almost went there, or maybe they almost crossed the boundary but didn't. So if she found a man that was more aligned to where she was in her life, that would not have been an issue, because he would have already understood what the long-term goal was. But because I don't believe that Jason necessarily cared too much for the long term, he just wanted to be, I suppose, satisfied in the short realm of things, because I don't believe that they ever saw, at least Jason never saw marriage with Liz. He just saw Liz as somebody that was very attractive, and somebody to conquer. And according to people, he conquered her, and he supposedly was having some cold feet pertaining to the relationship, the way she treated him. And if you remember, his mom spoke about Liz treating him like he's in charge while you secretly led him. So that sparked a lot of red flags for a lot of viewers who felt like, if you're a grown man, why do you need, or why do you require a woman to lead you? And the mom obviously knew that Jason was at a point in his life when he needed direction, and she felt like Liz was the person to give him that direction that he needed. But I don't think that's what Liz wanted. Liz didn't want to have to baby a man. She didn't want to have to raise a man. She wanted a man that was ready-made, and that was not what Jason was. And so I noticed that whenever people pushed back on the Liz and Jason relationship, other people were like, no, they're perfect for each other, they're awesome. And they tried to minimize the red flags and make it a thing that was a small issue, when in actuality, small issues in the beginning of relationships tend to be what breaks up relationships later on. So we all saw this coming. I don't think anybody's surprised. I don't think Jason was her person, and Jason knew he wasn't her person. But I feel like Jason felt like he had to prove a point to Kyra in choosing Liz, and he proved his point, and now Liz no longer serves him, in regards to that. So as the need for revenge simmered down on Kyra, his relationship with Liz simmered down. And another thing that I wanted to add about Liz is that I spoke multiple times about Liz not really listening to feedback from other people, valuable feedback. You have to understand that dating is a time where you have to gather information about people. It's not a time for you to be loyal to that person. It's not a time for you to fully trust that person, because you don't quite know him. And then when people were giving her not so favorable opinions on Jason, instead of taking that information and analyzing it and going back to him and making sure that everything was, or addressing those issues, what I think she did was she maybe asked him a question one time and then quickly moved on, when in fact what she had to do was really have a deep talk with him and figure out the bottom of the other person's problems that they had with him. And I think that was a better approach. But instead, she chose to trust Jason 100% and just, I believe, labeled Kyra as a hater. And so that was, I believe, a downfall for Liz. I feel like in the future, Liz should at least listen to the red flags and listen to the issues that other people have with your prospective partner, because that would be probably how the person will end up treating you as well. Not because they haven't treated you like this now, that means it's not gonna be something that comes in the future. So if the person says, oh, he was verbally abusive to me, this is just an example. I think that's something that you should take seriously, as opposed to, oh, he doesn't treat me like this, so that person is just hating, because the person will eventually show you their true colors. And another thing about it is, during the dating process, you're putting your best foot forward. So of course you're not gonna show the sides of you that are not so favorable. So when somebody gives you an opposing side of an individual that you don't see or you don't get, it's good for you to at least listen, because that person may not treat you how they treat somebody else, because that's not the energy that you present. So they treat you according to the energy you present. So if another person is getting another side of that person, it's very important that you at least pay attention to that and understand that if you do continue the relationship, there is a probability that that person will show signs of that, maybe negative side that you chose to ignore. So she did that with David, when I believe it was the lady was talking about Jason being too controlling. She ignored it and said, oh, I'm gonna date David anyway. And she did it with Jason. And you see how that turns out. So it's very important to keep your ears and eyes open, because that person may be showing you their best side, but other people have seen their worst sides, and it is important for you to at least get the whole picture of who that person is before jumping into a situation with them, and that's it. And it always seemed as if Liz was just more mature than Jason was, and just everything was just not aligning. So I think it's great that they broke up. I don't think breakups are necessarily a bad thing. I just feel like they figured out very soon that it wasn't going to work, and they decided to do something about it, and I'm happy that she did. And this was confirmation, and prior to this, she posted about a scene from the Matrix where this guy is dodging bullets. So essentially she was stating that she dodged a bullet with Jason. So we don't know the details of their relationship. However, we have to assume that she saw certain things from Jason that she figured was problematic and would be an issue moving forward. So she did something about it. Now, I'm not sure who broke up with whom, but I was led to believe by some speculation that it was probably Jason wanting to break up with her for quite some time, and then I suppose they decided to just let it go. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think about the Jason and Liz breakup. Was it a couple that you were very much invested in? Is that a couple that you wanted to go into the realm of marriage and children and all these things? Do you think that it's good that they decided to separate earlier on because they knew they were incompatible? Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and see you guys next time for our next episode of The Ranting Shop with Melissa. Bye.